Pokémon has always had a bit of a social side to it, since the original games that they pushed for you to battle and trade with your friends through the link cable, and this, of course, continued and got even more intense in the Wi-Fi era. One of the things that pushed you to do so were trade evolutions, and those were never really seen with a lot of love. So hey, I'm not so ace trainer, and is it time to end trade evolutions? Let's get into it. Trade evolution started in Gen 1 with Kadabra, Machoke, Graveler and Haunter only being able to reach their final stages through the process of a trade. With Wi-Fi out of the question, your only hope was to know someone with another copy of a Gen 1 Pokemon game and have access to a link cable. For me, while it was very easy to find someone with a Game Boy and a copy of Pokemon Red, Blue or Yellow at the time, someone with a link cable was 100% a tougher thing to find, and I did have a lot of unfinished Pokédexes from my playthroughs from the time. This trend continued into Gen 2, with them adding a bunch more trade evolutions now with items, since held items did become a thing in Pokemon Gold, Silver and Crystal, just like you liking and subscribing should become a thing right now. But going back to them, they even continued after Gen 2 and up until Gen 7 we always had some trade related form of evolution. The last one on the list of trade evolutions is a bit of a throwback to Gen 1, with it being Alolan Graveler's evolution into Alolan Golem. After that, since Gen 8, that no other Pokemon or form was introduced with a trade evolution requirement. You do have online related requirements like Fitness and Palafin, but that's about it. So it seems that they are kind of leaving behind this requirement. In fact, looking at Pokémon Legends Arceus, this whole forget about it thing becomes even more apparent. The linking cord was an item introduced there that served as a way to evolve your Pokemon that would otherwise only evolve when traded. It was treated as an evolution item, just like a Firestone is, and people absolutely loved it. It took away the need to trade, especially during a time when you would likely be doing that online, which not only is less personal but also brings some risks. Back in the days of the link cable, you kinda have to be in grabbing distance of the person you were trading with, since the cables were not that long, so unless they disconnected and started to run, which I'm sure happened in some place, you would always get your trade back. Now in the online world, unless you arrange a trade with someone you trust, you're always risking your Pokemon. And so, Sword and Shield, Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet not only did not introduce new trade evolutions, but they also gave you ways of catching almost every single Pokemon that you get through them in the wild. You can find them as roaming Pokemon in the wild area in Sword and Shield, as alpha Pokemon or in MMOs in Pokémon Legends Arceus, and in Terra Raids and some in the wild in Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet. They are actively trying to make trading in order to evolve unnecessary, which makes sense in a world where that social aspect from early Game Boy and Game Boy Advance Pokemon is simply replaced by the online features. And so, why not completely rework those evolutions? Pokemon is no strange to reworking things through the years. Abilities have been changed, moves have been changed, and even shiny Pokemon have been changed as well. I think almost everyone, and I say almost everyone because there's always that someone, but almost everyone would be very happy to see changes being made that absolutely removed trade evolutions from the games. And it would honestly not be that hard to do. If they wanted, they could simply keep the linking cord as an item, and it would serve as legacy for trade evolutions. This would replace the trade method for Kadabra, Machoke, Graveler and Haunter in Gen 1, Boulder and Gurdurr in Gen 5, Phantom and Pumpkaboo in Gen 6, and then Alolan Graveler in Gen 7. By the way, Alolan Graveler should have always evolved with a Thunderstone, but that's just me. Every other Pokemon that evolves through trading besides this has an extra bit to the whole thing. Those who evolve by trading with an item should evolve by us using that item on them, like we do with Evolution Stones for example. This was also the case in Pokémon Legends Arceus, meaning it is something they already worked with due to the lack of held items in the Legends game. For example, if you want a Scizor, you use Metal Coat on your Scyther, or if you want a Huntail, you use the Deep Sea Tooth on your Clamperl. The only other Pokemon that have a strange extra to the method would be Carablast and Shelmet, but they can simply have a similar evolution method to Pancham that evolves by having a Dark-type Pokemon in your party when it reaches level 32. By having Carablast and Shelmet in the party, they could evolve when one reached a specific level or both reached that level. Still, since they kinda have the evolve at the same time thing, they could also use a picnic-like feature to evolve them. By having a picnic with both, you could have them evolve after you closed it. This one is honestly harder than the rest, so please let me know your best suggestion. Now, what is clear is that it's not only the community that is a bit dissatisfied with trade evolutions right now, and even Game Freak is swimming against the tide they created almost 30 years ago. And so, I think we can probably expect some kind of alternative in the near future, in a decision that will undoubtedly be applauded by even Game Freak's biggest haters, and they're out there, believe me. And that is all I have for you today. I think they should, and I believe they will, end trade evolutions. But what about you? Would you like alternatives? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. Also, you can become a channel member or check out my merch in order to further support the channel. I'd be forever thankful for that. You can follow me on social media or check out one of my streams here and on Twitch. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.